Kamala Harris is interviewing 6 potential vice presidential picks this weekend. What is up, people of the internet? It is me, Real American, back again with a new video, and today we have to talk about the 2024 presidential election because Kamala Harris is interviewing 6 potential vice presidential picks, and that means more than likely by the end of the week, hell, possibly by even like Monday or Tuesday, we're gonna know the vice presidential pick for Kamala Harris. And I want to go over the 6 frontrunners because there are 6 main ones that most people agree is the final shortlist. Now, could it be someone outside of that shortlist? Maybe. But if I had to put money on it, it's probably going to be someone on the shortlist. I highly doubt that it's going to be someone off the list. I guess it's possible, but it's so unlikely that I'm not even considering that as a possibility. And I want to go over each one individually, explain what do they add to the ticket, does it make sense electorally, all of that. And the first one on the short list is Andy Beshear of Kentucky. Now, of all of these selections, this might make the least amount of sense. Like, seriously, Andy Beshear of Kentucky? Why? Outside of the fact that, yes, he's a governor in a deep red state, why pick him? Seriously, why? What does he add to the ticket? Oh, you do slightly better in Kentucky. Congratulations. Is that the plan here? You pick Andy Beshear and you add what? A 1-point bump in, like, Kentucky? Who freaking cares? I mean, seriously, why would that matter? Like, okay, congratulations. Instead of losing Kentucky by 26, you lose it by 25. You're not gonna magically flip the state. And even then, it's like, look at the states it's bordering. Okay, Virginia. I highly doubt anyone in Virginia is going to look at the vice presidential pick of Harris and say, you know what? I'm going to vote for Harris because she picked Andy Beshear. Ohio? Who cares? Trump's going to be winning the state by like 10 to 15 points. And even then, I highly doubt that anyone in Ohio, just like Virginia, are going to say to themselves, well, I was going to vote for Trump, but because Kamala Harris picked Andy Beshear, I'm going to vote for her. I highly doubt that's going to happen whatsoever. So it's like, well, what does Beshear add to the ticket? He's a moderate? No, he's not. Yes, he appears to be a moderate because he doesn't do anything. Seriously, if it wasn't for the Republican supermajority in both chambers in Kentucky, Andy Beshear would not be a moderate. I guarantee you, he would be a partisan hack. But because Republicans have such big majorities, anything he proposes, anything he really does, it just gets struck down immediately. So it doesn't really matter. So the more you look at the Andy Beshear pick, I guess you could argue, well, it doesn't necessarily hurt Harris. Fine. But does it add anything to the ticket? I don't think so. I really don't believe Andy Beshear adds anything to the ticket. But at the same time, you could argue he might be the safest choice because, well, yes, he doesn't add anything to the ticket. He doesn't really hurt the ticket either. So if you want to just, not lose support, I guess go ahead with Andy Beshear. But if you want to actually gain new voters, Andy Beshear makes no sense. I mean, seriously, what, who would think Andy Beshear would suddenly make Ohio competitive? That's the only way this would make any sense if they've really thought, well, Andy Beshear is going to help us in North Carolina, Ohio, etc. Or they realize, wait a minute, he doesn't hurt us, so let's pick him. I don't know, but I think the Andy Beshear pick, it's the safest pick, but you gain nothing. You gain nothing from picking him. So Andy Beshear is a safe, but quite frankly, a worthless pick. Now, another governor is J.B. Pritzker of Illinois. I am not kidding. That's what people are reporting that, oh yeah, Pritzker's on the short list. What? Of all the Midwestern states, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Michigan, the Harris campaign thinks we need to pick someone from the Midwest. And we're going to pick the governor of Illinois, possibly. Huh? The state that everyone knows is falling apart, that has Chicago in it? A city that no one wants to go to, everyone knows is a shithole? The Harris campaign thinks, yep, we need that. Why? Pritzker would hurt Harris in the Midwest. Because not only do you have a coastal liberal from California on the top of the ticket, you have J.B. Pritzker, the governor of Illinois, that everyone agrees is a shithole. It's a dumpster fire right now. It's a mess. Why would you pick a governor from a deep blue state in the Midwest that everyone agrees sucks? No one wants to live there. Everyone's moving. The cost of living is crazy. It's just baffling to me that she thinks, or at least the Harris campaign believes, we could go with J.B. Pritzker as a legitimate option. I really believe if she picked Pritzker, it would hurt her dramatically in Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania. I believe that. Because you're trying to convince voters to vote for a California liberal. Which already, that's a very tough sell. But not only that, you're trying to convince them to vote for a California liberal and someone from Illinois. What are you doing? That makes no sense. You would be better off with Tammy Duckworth, because at least you could argue, well, Duckworth's in the Senate. Like, she's not actually running the state into the ground. But Pritzker, he's the governor. He's the one that's supposed to control everything in the state, and he's a disaster. What a terrible pick. You could go with anyone else, but they really think Pritzker is a good choice. At least they, on the short list. Why? It really makes no sense. Now, the list also includes people like Tim Walz of Minnesota, Mark Kelly of Arizona, and Pete Buttigieg, the last one's a complete meme. I mean, at least with Tim Walz and Mark Kelly, they add something to the ticket, right? They're from swing states, or at least Tim Walz, he's from Minnesota. That's not necessarily a swing state, but you could argue, well, it's close to Wisconsin. Maybe it could help Harris there. In Minnesota, it could be a lot closer. Maybe it's smart to pick Walz. Mark Kelly, he's from Arizona. That's a key swing state. At least those kind of make sense on paper. But Pete Buttigieg? What? Why would you consider Pete Buttigieg, who most people agree is a complete disaster, as transportation secretary? He is. He adds nothing to the ticket. I mean, seriously, what is he going to run on? Him being gay? Do you really think that's going to magically turn the race around by Pete Buttigieg running on being a gay guy? No. People are going to look at him being the transportation secretary. They're going to realize, wait a minute. This is the same bozo that's supposed to fix up bridges, fix up the roads, all that. And clearly he's not doing his job. It's a complete joke. I don't get why Buttigieg is anywhere near the shortlist. Who does he appeal to? Gay voters? Congratulations. A group that votes Democrat by like 70 points. Like, who cares? If you're so worried about the gay vote, you have much bigger problems if you're Harris. But Pete Buttigieg is a complete joke, makes no sense. Tim Walz at least is from Minnesota. Mark Kelly's from Arizona. So those actually make some kind of sense on paper, I guess. But Pete Buttigieg adds nothing to the ticket. I know he's going to claim that he's from Michigan. Like, oh yeah, I live in Michigan now, but you were the mayor of South Bend, Indiana. So are you not from Indiana now? Are you from Michigan? Either way, it's a complete joke. I don't get why Pete Buttigieg is even considered in the short list. I will laugh hysterically if it's Pete Buttigieg, because I guarantee you, no matter what happens, Pete Buttigieg by far is the weakest pick. He adds nothing to the ticket. He's just there because he's gay. But there is one more person that many people consider to be the current frontrunner for the VP selection. That is, of course, Josh Shapiro of Pennsylvania. And I left him for last because this is the pick that just a week ago I was saying made the most sense for Harris. I believed it. I really thought that Shapiro was a legitimate threat to the Republican Party, and even to Trump to a lesser extent. But in the last, 72 hours, it's gotten bad for Shapiro. It seems like every ounce of bad media that could hit someone has hit Josh Shapiro. Whether it's him covering up murders, whether it's him, saying some very suspicious stuff about Palestinians, all of that. Josh Shapiro went from someone that I thought was a great pick for Harris to someone that is such a high-risk pick for her that it could single-handedly sink this ticket even further. Because at least with Tim Walz, Andy Beshear, even Mark Kelly, yeah, they don't really add much, but at the same time, they don't hurt Harris. Josh Shapiro, on the other hand, yeah, he's from Pennsylvania, the key swing state. I get that. But the more that leaks about Shapiro, the more I realize, oh boy, this guy has a lot of baggage, which is crazy to say because just 2 weeks ago, I was saying Josh Shapiro would be a good pick for Democrats. I was saying that, but now it's like, wait, he might be the weakest pick for Harris of all these options. Again, it could be a high reward pick. It could go very well. But at the same time, the more we learn about Shapiro, the more it sounds like the guy is just a very bad pick. Possibly. Because it's a lot of baggage. The fact that he said stuff about Palestinians 10 years ago, that's going to piss off the progressive voter. There are so many issues with Shapiro that I'm shocked by it. I didn't know half of the stuff he said, but it mysteriously leaked. And it makes you really wonder, did someone at the Democrat Party leak that information? I know that sounds crazy, but the more we hear about the guy, it's like, wait, for 3 years, actually 4 years now, the Democrat Party 24/7 was praising Shapiro, every Democrat voter was, as the greatest thing since sliced bread, that he's the future of the Democrat Party, he's gonna win in a landslide, all of that. But now it's like, wait, Democrats now have a big problem with him. Hold on, why? It makes you really wonder, okay, did someone leak this information? I don't know, but I find it very suspicious. At the end of the day, though, Josh Shapiro, he is the definition of high risk, high reward. He's either going to be a really good pick for Harris or a complete disaster. That's what it looks like. We're talking about a complete disaster that could sink the ticket. I really believe that. There's so many things about Shapiro that if Democrats do not resolve immediately, they could have a big problem. Now, as for who I would pick, I would probably go with Andy Beshear. Even Mark Kelly, because yeah, they don't add much to the ticket, but at the same time, they don't really hurt Harris. They just kind of exist. They're not going to hurt the ticket that much, but they're not going to add much to the ticket. The other options, like Pritzker and Pete Buttigieg, they just suck. And Josh Shapiro, he's such a high-risk, high-reward candidate that, do you really want to risk it? I don't know. But anyways, folks, thank you so much for watching. If you guys did enjoy this video, smash the like button down below, subscribe, share with your friends, hit that little bell, follow the social media accounts in the description down below, and of course, join the channel today. Godspeed to all of you.